So I am investigating the potential relationship between weight loss intervention and cancer prevention in a population of people living with obesity. And something that's incredibly important to us is to make sure that everything that we do is centered around patients, of course. And this is where we came across Obesity Voices and the Obesity Institute. And that was really helpful and really kind of slick and streamlined into helping maximize our recruitment of people with lived experience of obesity to inform the research that we're doing. We held a focus group with Obesity Voices members, and the aim of this was to understand their thoughts and experiences of different potential types of weight loss intervention. That we also wanted to understand the importance of cancer as a risk factor from obesity in general, and we used that information and those discussions to inform a consensus process that we've held with international researchers from across Europe, America, and Australia. So that was really helpful in kind of informing a large group of experts to kind of hopefully take the next steps in generating research and potentially clinical management policy. It's great. I've already spread the word. It's really easy. There's great kind of blend of patients who are very experienced in this kind of thing, but also people who perhaps aren't so experienced. And I think that blend is really helpful. I mean, my advice would be definitely to reach out and discuss what the options are.
So one thing I found really useful was talking to men about men's experiences of obesity more widely, but specifically about sort of the discrimination. I didn't really know at all what that kind of stigma looks like for men. So that was very interesting, hearing about the way in which men can be quite cruel to each other around people's weight, including in a workplace context, and how there's this sort of phenomenon of of banter that you can't really get. It's not really like you're not allowed to get upset about. If you're starting a project about obesity where experience is important, which I would argue is every project, definitely give Obesity Voices Hub a shout, because they're great.
I'll give you a bit of background to why I approached the hub. I was focusing on the experiences of people living with obesity during the pandemic, after what turned out to be nearly 18 months of isolation, because I wanted to take the main messages from the research and get them out there in a way that was understandable to people and were attached to personal stories about people living with obesity and mental health. I contacted members of the Obesity Voices Hub and invited them to take part in a focus group where we discussed the research findings and ideas around who needed to know the messages and how we might communicate this in the right way to different people. The topic of mental health, people's lived experiences, and what the group might want to contribute to developing what materials we might develop. So my first piece of advice would be to use the Obesity Voices Hub for your PPIE work streams. That's what it's been set up for, and it's a great resource. Personally, I got a lot out of the experience as a researcher, because it helped me find the language to communicate my research. Another piece of advice would be to make sure that it's what your PPIE is well funded, and you have ring-fence funding in a grant application to fund this sort of research and activity. Being clear what you want from the group. I didn't realise how well organised it was, and that it was just a really great resource for researchers, and it's exactly what researchers need in a way to make their research meaningful and start kind of challenging these stereotypes around this eat less, move more type of narrative. It's just giving voice to people with lived experience. It's just it makes the research what it should be, which is to have impact on people's lives.